What is up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to another cooking video. Today's gonna be an interesting video. We're going to be making brisket. Personally, I have never made a brisket before on my own, although I've had many briskets in my lifetime, in my short lifetime. A lot of briskets. A lot. But this should be interesting. It's gonna be a Thanksgiving brisket. I don't know how many of you guys have ever had a Thanksgiving brisket, but I'm looking forward to it. Now, as for a side dish for the brisket, I'm going to be making a homemade mac and cheese, which right at the very end, we'll add brisket and barbecue sauce and all that good stuff on top of the mac and cheese. One thing I am gonna be doing different in this video is I'm actually gonna be doing voiceover during the cooking process. So if you guys could let me know down below, do you guys prefer when I just go step by step and talk about it as I'm cooking? Or do you guys prefer the edited down voiceover? Let me know down below. I'm fine with doing whatever, but today's video I am gonna be doing the voiceovers. So let's get into cooking. So right now is actually Wednesday night before Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna prep the brisket to smoke tomorrow. And I'm also gonna go ahead and cook the mac and cheese tonight. Because if any of you have ever had homemade mac and cheese, I think we all know that the day after you cook it, it's always the best. So we're gonna go ahead and cook that up, get the brisket trimmed, get it ready for the smoker tomorrow, and we will be all set. So let's get into it. So this brisket that I bought from Costco is already pre-trimmed. What I'm gonna be doing here is trimming any unnecessary fat that I don't want on the brisket. I'm also gonna be rounding the corners of the brisket so I don't get burnt pieces at the end. And when it comes to hard fat on the brisket, you wanna trim it off because it's not gonna render down by the time the brisket's done. Once I get it trimmed to how I like, I'm gonna put it onto a sheet tray and add the binder. I'm gonna be using mustard. This helps the seasoning stick to the brisket. And when it comes to seasoning, I'm gonna be using a barbecue rub that I enjoy. I'm not gonna go too heavy with it just because it is a sugar-based rub and I don't really want it to burn while it's in the smoker. Once I've rubbed the seasoning in on that side, I'm gonna flip it over, add the binder again. And on this side of the brisket, I'm gonna be adding salt along with garlic powder and freshly cracked black pepper. Keeping it pretty simple on the meat side of the brisket, keeping it pretty flavorful on the fat side of the brisket. Make sure you rub the seasoning into everything. Cover all sides of the meat with seasoning. On this side of the brisket, I'm also gonna be adding salt and black pepper as well. And once you get it all seasoned, I'm gonna put it in the fridge and let it rest overnight. So now that we got the brisket trimmed, we're gonna move on to getting the mac and cheese ready. So first we're gonna start off by boiling the elbow mac and cheese. You use whatever noodle you want. I'm just gonna go with the classic elbow mac and cheese. It's all I can really find at the supermarket. It's pretty packed in there today. All the shelves are empty, so we're gonna go with it. And while the noodles are boiling, we're gonna go ahead and make the cheese sauce. I love cheese, dude. Now when it comes to making a cheese sauce, we're gonna wanna make a roux. So we're gonna add half a stick of butter. Once that melts down, we're gonna add enough flour to equal the amount of butter that we put in. We're then gonna wanna whisk the flour into the butter and let that cook for about 1 to 2 minutes. Once that's cooked through, that's when we're gonna start adding the milk. Now we're gonna go slow. Don't panic because everything is gonna start clumping up. Once it clumps up, just add a little bit more milk. And you'll see as you keep adding more and more milk, it'll start to become more liquidy and it'll become a nice thick sauce. Now, when you're making a cheese sauce, you want to make it a little bit thinner before you add the cheese because the cheese is going to thicken the sauce. Now, when it comes to cheese, I'm going to be adding 4 slices of American cheese. And then I'm also going to be adding a ton of sharp cheddar cheese. Freshly grated is always the best. And for the final cheese, I'm going to add a ton of freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano. Just add that sharp kick into the cheese sauce. Now, when it comes to seasonings, I'm going to add salt. I'm gonna add freshly cracked black pepper, paprika. I'm also gonna be adding some powdered Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna be adding Frank's Red Hot. That's the real secret to making a good cheese sauce, is adding a little bit of Frank's Red Hot or just some sort of hot sauce in general. Mix it all up, taste for seasoning. And I'm gonna be adding onion powder, garlic powder. Once it's good, you wanna add your noodles. Mix it all together, let it combine with the cheese sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and flatten it out because we're gonna be adding breadcrumbs to the top of the mac and cheese. Today I just went with panko breadcrumbs. I'm also gonna be adding a little bit of barbecue seasoning on top. We're gonna go ahead and throw that into a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes. Once it gets golden brown and bubbly, we're gonna take it out. And here is the package. So we're finally finished. We trimmed up the brisket, got it ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're gonna go ahead, take the brisket, throw it in the smoker at 265, low and slow, cook it for as long as it needs to take. We also got the mac and cheese done and ready to go. I can't wait for that personally. That's probably gonna be my favorite part about the entire meal tomorrow. But the next clip that you guys are probably gonna see is me tomorrow morning putting the brisket into the smoker after I let the meat come up to room temperature. That's an important tip. You always want to let your brisket come up to room temperature because typically you're going to let the brisket sit in the fridge overnight, wake up in the morning, and then you're just going to want to take the brisket and throw it into the smoker. You want to bring that brisket temperature up to room temperature before you throw it in the smoker, or it's going to take way too long and it's not going to be good. This mac and cheese that I made today, honestly, beats any other mac and cheese I've ever had in my life. You guys need to try this. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care. Get up. Go make this right now. It's delicious. You definitely want to add the Parmesan to it. It makes it 1,000 times better. A little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, all that stuff, man, it's so good. Finish it off with a little bit of breadcrumbs and a little bit of barbecue seasoning on top. Man, it's gonna be good. I cannot wait. So, I will see you guys tomorrow when I go put the brisket into the smoker. And tomorrow night, tomorrow night's gonna be a good one. I'll see you guys then. So I went ahead and threw the brisket in at about 10:30 in the morning. I let it come up to room temperature. Let it smoke at about 270 for about 4 hours till it reached 170 internal. I decided to wrap it and add some barbecue sauce and beef tallow. Wrapped it up, put it in the smoker at around 250 until it got up to about 198 to 200 degrees internal. I took it out of the smoker and I decided to let it rest for about 2 hours before we cut into it. And here's our reaction to how juicy this brisket was.
Cut right here.
Dude. Hell yeah, dude. Oh, fuck yeah. Look how juicy that is. Holy shit. Oh, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. It's a little bit of a different ending here just because I ended up not recording anything else that night. We were watching episode 1 of Star Wars. I was starving. I just wanted to eat and not be bothered. So, what I can say, that was by far one of the best briskets I've ever had in my life. I'm sure there are thousands of different people that can make better briskets than I could. But for my first brisket ever, it turned out perfect. Perfectly juicy all the way through. Cut against the grain. Once you started eating it, dude, it was like butter in your mouth. It was awesome. The brisket went amazing with that mac and cheese. Spread a little bit of barbecue sauce on top. I had plenty of leftovers. It was awesome. So I encourage you guys to go out there, try things you've never done before, cook things you've never tried before, have a blast with it. Cooking's supposed to be fun, supposed to be difficult. All you gotta do is just start and you'll learn from there. So go out there, cook something. And if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss any of our future content. We have lifting videos coming out in the near future and we have plenty of more cooking videos that I wanna do. So we're gonna have a good time with that. I appreciate you guys and I'll see you guys in the next video. 2-inch gang.